is an armchair expert, but he makes mistakes all the time. Thank God Monica's here. She's gonna let him have the facts.
Do you feel extra fresh on your way to this award show to look extra stylish?
That's a great...
Does it feel like you look extra stylish?
Because of my big pants.
You were wearing an inclement weather jacket when you came in that you denied was a rain jacket.
Look, I understand why you think it's a rain jacket.
Because of the noise it was making. It was
yeah, kind of windbreakery material-ish.
Yeah.
I bought it vintage, so it could have been a rain jacket.
Oh, great.
Yeah, sustainable.
Sustainable.
Yeah.
Doing your part. Do better.
Yeah, so BTS, I'm going from this. Thank you. You rearranged the time a couple times, which is very nice.
Oh, didn't mind one bit.
Because you're betrothed.
Yeah.
Kristen is hosting the SAG Awards this year.
Correct. The Screen Actors Guild's Awards.
That's right. And she asked if I could come in.
Once again,
that's right. Because she was the first host ever.
2018.
That's right. And so I, wrote her stuff back then. And so she asked if I could come and
out
do
of
that.
retirement.
Yeah, exactly. And do that for her. And of course I said yes. So we are about to go shoot a promo for it.
Right.
I didn't really think about being extra stylish because it's not a fashion campaign.
No, but it's, I don't know. It's a shoot.
Yeah. I mean, maybe subconsciously.
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
New group of people. Minimally, you want to put your best foot forward.
Yeah. I want to be cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm tired.
Oh, great. Me too. Why are you tired?
I'm tired because of a big ding, ding, ding.
What?
I started Paradise last night. This is for little Jimmy Marsden.
Oh, baby Jimmy Marsden.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first 3 episodes are on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
And I was so
what a concept,
in.
Right?
Yes, I was so in, and then I panicked because I needed more. And we have screeners.
Yeah.
We're lucky enough to have screeners, and even though it is my stance, like with Severance, that I learned my lesson from Only Murders in the Building, and because I watched all of those in one night.
No, you didn't delay your gratification enough.
I didn't, because they only give you so many, and then you have to wait a really long time. So I promised to myself I wasn't going to do that with Severance, and I haven't.
Good job.
But with Paradise, I did. I watched all of it, except
all of it.
I didn't know they were going to do the same thing. They always do this. It's not the end.
Right.
Again, I only have 7 episodes.
Oh, that version. I thought you were saying that the season finale ended on a cliffhanger or something without a resolution.
No, there's 8 episodes. We got 7.
Yeah, well, this happened, of course, with Severance.
Yeah.
And then we started hounding Adam. Well, actually, when we did the podcast, they offered to get us the remaining 3, but then that never happened.
Right. I mean, those are under real lock and key, I got to assume.
Well, that brings me to another thing. Actually, remaining 4. So anyways, we've been hounding him, leaving aggressive messages, and I think they just came in, but they came in a different screening platform, which every time, I know it's such a baby thing to complain about, but it takes sometimes 90 minutes to sign into these screening apps because you have to use the Google Authenticator, you got to get a text, you got to do a magic link to another website.
Yes.
You're on your phone, but you realize an email's come through and you need to see the email, but you followed the link through the original email.
I know,
so
it's a lot.
So you need like 2 or 3 devices going at once. All to say, I'm finally in on Apple screeners and it's easy, but the next batch are on a different one.
Oh, okay.
So that's almost been a hurdle enough for me to slow it down.
Yeah.
Well, not almost. It has been.
I watched the first 2. I'm caught up on Severance.
Right.
And
but you're not ahead at all.
God, it's good.
Yeah, it's a goodie.
It's so good.
But you loved, though, Paradise?
Nice. I love it.
What a hook, right?
Yeah. We ran into this problem in the episode where you can't really say anything.
I know.
So that's just frustrating for people. But I'll just say I watched 7 episodes last night.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's enough of a testament to how good it is.
And everyone's great. He's great in it.
Jimmy Marsden?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
He really.
I was saying, he's just legitimately good.
He is very natural, and he plays that character very well.
But I loved that he was acknowledging, he's like, I just think I'm acting.
He's like, I'm always acting.
Yeah, that was really refreshing, because you can also be really good even if you have that feeling.
Yes.
You can let yourself off the hook.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone's having the experience that Dan Lewis and some of these others are having.
I know. Well, we don't know. Maybe he feels like that too.
Dan Lewis?
Yeah.
Well, he is acting. I mean,
exactly.
He's not even, there's no him there. If ever there was some acting. He's morphing. He's channeling. He's transcending. He's got a liberal arts education. I want to give a shout out to Lincoln. They had their last soccer game last night, and they achieved their perfect season.
Wow.
0 goals.
Zero goals?
Yeah, 0. They scored 0 times, and it got close. I got scared. There was finally a kick on goal last night, and it almost went in. I kind of panicked, like, oh, don't mess up your record.
Wow.
And but what's great is I think the girls too had a good sense of humor about it. They joked about having a perfect season at this point.
That's funny.
Yeah, but this is tied in because a good friend of mine who works at HBO was there, and he was talking about having just watched episode 8 of White Lotus.
Oh my God.
And I had an envy. It brewed up in me.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's allowed. He's going to be killed.
Well, he's the producer. He has to watch
Now that you
them.
said it, he's going to be killed. This is an Easter egg for an upcoming episode.
Yeah, truly.
A couple episodes from now.
5 or 6 episodes from now.
So TV is doing great right now.
It's doing great. We're fine. We have some big shows coming back, which is a huge relief.
Yeah.
I felt like it slowed down quite a bit there, but we got some offerings now, and I feel comforted by that. I do want to do 40 seconds of navel gazing, and then I'll table all the navel gazing for some period. But people, as you would probably guess, a lot of people felt very strongly with the point of view you were making. I guess it would be 2 fact checks ago. Aaron was previous fact check. When we had our discussion about being authentic and sharing feelings and versus entertaining and a respite. So, people supported us on both sides.
Yeah, I support us on both sides.
Me too. I only want to be clear about one thing. Neither of us are pitching all sadness or all entertainment.
No.
We're both pitching some balance.
Yeah.
And I think most importantly, people should know there's no pressure for us to be making it anything.
Yeah.
Some people were nervous about that. My goal is for it to have the balance it's always had. And I know it's your goal too. We both have the same goal of having the balance we've always had.
Yeah.
And then we have differing opinions on, sometimes.
To me, it will hopefully, and not always, but I trust that it will always strike that balance because of the nature of our dynamics. Yeah. So even when there's sadness or bad things or hard things, we talk about that, but then something funny will come up or something light will come up too. And that's life. And that's the true to us. And so. Okay.
And then the last thing is, and I've said this before, probably in interviews and stuff, but I don't know if I've ever said it explicitly on here. There are people saying really heartfelt and moving things like, you have to understand, we value your perspective on this. It helps us process the thing going on. And I mean, mostly people are feeling that way about me not commenting or spending a lot of time on the election or the first week. I just want people to understand why that's my position, which is I would never want a young dude who voted for Trump, who's a sexual abuse survivor, to not feel welcome here. I would not want an addict that voted for Trump to not feel welcome here.
Yeah.
I just have a certain purpose that's clear to me. And part of that purpose is I don't want anyone to feel unwelcome.
Yeah.
And I think if I hunkered down on either side of the political spectrum, I would just be kind of disinviting half the people. And so I hope people understand that's where it's coming from. It's not like just an obstinance or is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about it. It's just, I want everyone to feel welcome.
Yeah,
that's
that makes
it for
sense to me. And if you take it from the perspective of this is a sort of an AA meeting type setup, then yeah, you would never, I don't think, say you can't come here.
Right. Anyway, that was my navel gazing.
Got it.
Yeah, I can move on now.
Well, back to Paradise. Little Jimmy's fantastic. And now I feel comfortable calling him that after watching the show.
Watching the show. Yeah. Did it make you want to smoke and drink?
No, well, I already drink, so I got that one down.
Yeah.
It did not make me want to smoke.
Did I tell you about one of my favorite birthday presents I got?
What?
From Matt and Laura.
Oh.
It's a wooden box with a glass face and a little hammer. And the glass says, break in case of emergency. And behind it is a pack of Camel cigarettes.
That's fun.
Isn't that great?
That's great.
What a great gift.
That's a really
It really
good
cracks
gift.
me up and I like it.
Yeah. That's
and I will break it in case if they go, the meteor is going to hit Earth in 8 hours, I'm going to rip them out.
I know. I've been thinking about what to do in the last hour.
Oh,
If some bad event is happening.
Yeah.
Do I try to get to safety? Well, Jess and I were talking about or maybe we talked about it here also, but during the fires, we were thinking, we said it with Josh on Josh Gad's episode, like, who are you on the Titanic? Which person are you?
Right.
Are you the person who's really trying to figure out how to get off? Are you the person helping arrange people to get off?
Yeah.
Are you those people who they're like drinking wine as it's going down?
Yeah.
I mean, we sort of said that was going to be us.
Yeah, I was like, I'll be playing the cello still.
Yeah. So I wonder
what you would do.
What I would do. And if I'm going to try to save myself or just
have
be like,
cocktail.
You know what? Good ride.
Yeah. It's been a great ride. For Eric and I, this topic comes up. For Eric and I, it's always so simple, so clear to us how you'd want to die. This is you want to OD on opiates because you'd be feeling very blissful and then you just want to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I think
probably
most addicts kind of have the same. I heard people, well, I guess I'd want to, get shot. That's fast. Or, die, fall off a building. Or I don't want to drown. I'm like, what about a nice, gentle send off? I think that's the preferred.
I kind of agree.
Oh, I've done some doctoring on myself.
Oh, okay.
As I tend to do. And I think I was complaining about it in the last fact check. I've been seemingly sick for like 8 weeks, something like this. And then when we were in Mexico, the elevation's quite high. So my nose was kind of bloody and dry. And then when I got back, it was really, really bad. And so I was like, what cold do I have? I was thinking. And all of a sudden it occurred to me yesterday morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what might be happening? I started thinking of my nasal passage as like an anal fissure.
Oh.
Like I blew it out so bad. Honk, honk, honk. I'm really going at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Way too aggressively. We're like, I had my eye bulged out at one point in Mexico.
Oh, God.
It's like, we gotta throttle back on this exhaust because it's pushing on your eyes and whatever. Oh. So it occurred to me, maybe I have a lot of damage in there. The body's sending white blood cells to heal it, which is snot. And then I'm honking that out a second. And I'm just in this endless loop of trying to repair. So yesterday I'm like, you're no longer allowed to blow your nose. And Monica, of all the things I've done, quit cigarette, anything, this one's crazy hard.
What about?
Because I've been blowing. It's definitely a tick now.
Yeah,
it's definitely like anytime I feel it, I have to do it.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
And I have to just not blow my nose. I, of course, did have to blow my nose because it's still building up.
That's what I'm saying. How about twice a day?
I probably hit it about 6 times yesterday, but down from probably 40. 600 the day before.
Yeah.
And I'm only allowed to basically go like, Like if I have to blow harder than that to get it out, I'm not allowed.
Oh, I see. So that's.
I can even just talk a lot and say, hopefully I'll just, you know, it's
and are
like
you
a
worried
cheat.
stuff's going to start coming out?
Of course. Yeah. And guess what? It's not. And already it stopped dripping as much.
Wow.
So I really think thus far, this diagnosis might be on.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Is it bad to have tissues right there? That feels very taunting.
Right. Like a little mirror and a straw.
Yeah, it's not very. We should move that out.
My old friend. I'd be so happy to say goodbye to that old friend.
I mean, we've talked about this. You are obsessed with the tissue box. Like for you, that is an indicator of whether it's a nice hotel or not.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, yes.
And I've never noticed it. I never notice it.
It's also, it has reared itself in like photos I'll take in post. And I think people sometimes call out, like it looks a little perverse to always have a box of tissues with you.
Oh my.
It looks like I'm always like about to or just finished self-pleasuring.
Do you have a deviated septum?
Yeah. Go to show what an addict I am. Like I can even get addicted to like blowing my nose.
I am proud of you for noticing and stopping. And I will say I'm grateful. It's a lot to cut around. And on video, it wasn't an issue before, but now we're seeing it. And so I do have to I do have to make it clear, like never be on a shot. You can never be on a shot when Dax is blowing his nose. I've made that clear.
Okay, that's one of the edicts to the editors. Okay, it did just make me think you almost never see anyone blow their nose in a movie.
Yeah,
unless they're playing super sick.
Sure.
And it's very chewy.
And they're over the top. They're like tongue acting with their nose.
Yeah, they're like this. They're like this. Like, oh, honey, did you bring their voice is always like that? No, I didn't. I wasn't able to stop and get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's more of a.
You booked it.
I booked it.
You booked it.
I know. Thank you. Thank you.
That was good.
And occasionally you'll see this too. You'll see in a movie, you'll see a woman go into a purse and then.
Of course. She's very sad. She's very sad.
But I can't think of a time I've seen Robert De Niro blow his nose. Is it really unsettling when you've seen it on video? Because obviously I've never seen it. Is it like my drumming phase?
I don't like it.
It's a bad look.
I mean, no one wants it's like you just said, we don't see it. So it is like, I'm not supposed to see that.
Right. It's like someone wiping their butt.
And it feels like, oh, wow, he just like really just doesn't give a fuck.
Okay, sure. You know? There's like some subtext to it.
Like he just really doesn't care. But that's not it. Of course, it's just that you're in the zone.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's going to start rolling out of my nose if I don't give it.
But it is a tip. I have noticed, and I do think it's gotten
worse.
Or more. I wouldn't say worse, but
I think it's okay to label some things worse.
More, and so I am personally delighted.
The human battle just doesn't quit.
Yeah.
It won't end.
I want to give you a compliment. I think you often in life come to the right conclusions about things, but I do think it takes you a long time. But I always...
Sure, in this case, like 2 months. I got to be uncomfortable and miserable for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think you do get there. Like I do know this as a pattern. Again, I was talking to Jess, obviously. I did something sort of mean to him because he's my brother, right?
Yeah.
Wow, this is such a ding, ding, ding. He has this amazing job. He runs his business with this other guy, and it's a service business. He goes to restaurants and teaches people how to give good perfect service. Yeah. And it's incredible, and it's doing so well.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm so proud of him.
That's great.
It's really awesome. But, when he does these like classes for them, and he's just like, it's very like animated and loud. And
it's an improv class.
Yes. And he's very on for all of it. So he is struggling with his voice.
Oh, that's great.
And he's been complaining about it a lot. And so I said, well, what are we going to do? We should Grethers. I also offered that here.
Throat
coat, maybe a medicine, but he's just been complaining a lot about it, understandably. And this is where my impatience comes in.
Sure.
We were going to hang out, so we FaceTimed, and the first thing he said was like, oh, my voice. And I said, well, I can't hear that again. And I'm lucky, but I also, this is the conversation I want to get to. I know he can take that.
Uh-huh.
And he did. He just like sat there for a second and he said, okay, I'm fixed. And I said, I'm not saying that, but also like we do need to figure it out.
Yeah, right.
Or we can't complain anymore.
It's time to get into solution, as we would say
exactly.
in AA.
This is one thing I love about him. He like brought that up as a positive thing. And he said, I feel really lucky that you feel you can be that way with me or say a thing that is true.
Yeah.
And he said, do you do that with everyone?
Yeah.
75% is the same, but there's like a 25% that's adapting to who I'm around.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that phrase to everyone.
For sure.
But I
would argue it's pretty gendered too. Like, I think your dad gets it, your brother gets it, I gets it, Jess gets it, and your mom gets it.
Mom
so that's
gets it.
4 to 1.
Family,
yeah.
I guess I would say, although I would never say that to Kristen.
I feel that, right. I've made this point before. I am able to speak to young men in a way I just wouldn't speak to. Previously, I think I've told the story. It's like my friend who I adore, Jay, who's like would wash my razors and stuff.
Yeah.
And he would list all this stuff. And I just went out to him and said, listen, this is how you'll win in life. Just make shit disappear. Don't try to get any approval for it. Just make problems go away and you will fucking own a company. Right. Like I can just be that way to dudes. I don't know.
Well, because we were talking about another friend who I won't name. He was asking, would you say this to her? It was a girl.
Yeah.
And I said, no, definitely not. That person is very sensitive. Like I know them but I would say something. I would say like, well, what can we do? Like, what can we do? How can I help? Something like that. So the point is the same.
Yes. You just have different bedside manner.
But do you think you do that? Do you think you're 75% one thing and then you adapt? Or do you think you're like 100 always?
I was just talking to this. It's adjacent to this, which is, no, I think I'm kind of overly soft when I will always say my thing. It's not like I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
But I have been in a position many times where I have to give notes to people who work for me. So I have gotten very good, I think, at laying out notes in a positive way. To the degree that one of the first habits I had to break when I was messing around with AI is I would go, generate an image of a van in the blah, blah, blah with the blah, blah, blah. And it would come up. And then I would go, I swear to God, I was doing this like the first 20 times I use it. I was like, really great start. This works.
Yeah.
Now could you add blank? And after about 5, I was like, oh, I don't need to fucking say any of that to this thing. Let's go like, make the wheels bigger.
Yeah.
Next thing, make them taller. No, but I was saying great job to AI.
Yeah, well.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
That brings me to something that I'm afraid to talk about because I do not want to hurt anyone's feelings in my life.
Okay.
But I also find the punchline of this is just too comical to not say in public.
Okay.
So there is a bit of a gender divide right now in our pod about how nervous men are about the air quality and how nervous the women are. And I know there's a lot of chains going on about different air purifiers and whatnot. And so Kristen's quite concerned about their quality.
Yeah, she is.
She's reading a lot about it. I thank her for that, for our family's safety. And also every day more air purifiers arrive to the degree that when you enter our house, it's like going into the reefer unit at a Costco. Yeah. It's like, Like we got 6 of them that filter out this particulate at 0.01. We've got a handful in the corners that are doing 0.003. They're all running. It's like there's a hum in the house.
Sure.
One of them was on auto, and in the middle of the night, I think it thought there was a biological weapon went off in the bedroom because all of a sudden it was like there was a jet engine going on.
Wow.
I was like, what is that? And then I'm blind and I'm trying to fucking turn it off. And so this has all been building, and then there's some concern about water that has gotten in the water. All of this has been escalating, and there's more and more air purifiers, and we're trying to navigate it. She knows I'm not.
Yeah.
She'll even say like, I'm afraid to bring this up, but right. So but we're getting through it, and I think it's going pretty well. And then I had overheard that, we have these oolers to cool you down in the bed.
Yeah.
And I had heard Carly was going through and running peroxide through all of them, but I use distilled water. So I'm not actually nervous about it. So when I saw that this was going on, I was like, you just stay right out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So last night I go to bed.
Yeah.
And, I turn on the Uller and it's making insane noises. I don't know what I'm hearing, all kinds of weird new noises. And then I'm realizing, the little water capsule wasn't set in correctly. So I get that going. And now I realize, it's out of water because maybe the peroxide thing. So I'm filling it with water. And it keeps making all these noises. And I can't figure out what's going on. And then at some point I can hear gushing water.
Oh, no.
And
oh, God.
I'm like, oh my, what's going on? And I pick up my pillow, and where it goes into the bladder, that has been torn at some point in this cleaning.
Okay.
And it has just pumped a gallon of water onto my bed.
Oh, no.
And I was really tired.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and poor Kristen saw that, and I'm sure she immediately was like, "Oh no!"
Of course,
look what I've done.
worried.
And I just walked into the bathroom, and I leaned over the sink, and I said to myself, "She's trying her hardest to keep the family safe."
That's right.
What I was really screaming in my head is like, "Just leave my things out of it.
Know.
Just go crazy." But I really have 3. I need my Uller and my coffee in the morning. So I went to self-pity, and then I said, stop. This is a human being who's trying her hardest to keep everyone healthy.
Yes, she is.
And then I came back in, and I was very pleasant.
Nice.
And I said, I'm going to go sleep downstairs.
Oh,
because my bed was soaking wet.
Of course.
And I walked downstairs, and I realized, I can't sleep in the guest room because that's where Whiskey's fucking cage is. And Whiskey wakes up all night long barking. And then I said, no, I'm going to go outside.
Outside?
Yeah. So I slept in the guest house.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes. So I was sleeping in the guest house, and I was thinking, maybe I could claim this as my house.
Okay. Now, listen. I want to say something to you.
Okay.
I understand all of this.
Both sides.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think, and this probably isn't the place to say it, but I do feel safer saying it here. I think you're feeling a real lack of control in your life right now.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah.
From a lot of angles.
Uh-huh.
And so these things are very heightened.
Yes.
And anything is very heightened. And especially in our personal things get very heightened when anyone feels like they have a lack of control, but especially you, because that's hard for you.
Yeah, you're right. And I felt like I lost control of my bed.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh my God, I can't even count on sleeping in my bed now.
That's where it goes. Exactly. That's the thing. Like, again, understandably, that's like the bedrock of your trauma is not having control. Uh-huh. So, a flooded bed where people who don't have that background are just going to be like, they'll be annoyed. Like, now I have to deal with this. This is so annoying. You're probably not going to go to, well, now I don't even have a bed that's mine.
I have no control over my
I have
bed.
all this stuff and no control over any of it.
And I live with dogs and I don't want to. I don't get to control whether I have allergies. And I start, you're right. I start compiling.
But it's not out of nowhere. It's because there's been a lot of stuff that is priming you for this. It's just going to get triggered easily until we can let some of that go.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a horrible idea to contact Mark. It can't hurt.
It's never hurt. It's only helped.
Literally never hurt. Well, but I'm just saying, I see why.
And that's coupled. It's all coupled. The timing's perfectly. I even said this out loud yesterday. Said it out loud. I'm like, there's some huge growth around the corner. But I can feel it because it's all coinciding. Maybe I already said this with me writing about something I was never going to write about.
I don't think I knew that.
I'm at the point in the memoir where I'm having to write about the thing I was never going to write about.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I don't mind saying I was molested. I had no intention to ever detail to anybody ever on this planet what happened.
Details.
And so I've been for maybe 8 days.
Oh my.
Going through that every morning, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
So I think that's in the stew.
Of course.
I think being made fun of in all these award shows is in the stew. I think the fires are in the stew. I think the fans and the air purifiers. I think you're right. I think there's a lot. Like I'm spending time revisiting that apex of loss of will.
The impetus of that, really.
Yeah. And then all these other things are coinciding in a very sim-like, impossibly coincidental
January
way.
Yeah.
And so, I'm hanging on at times by a thread. But I'm very proud to say I haven't had any kind of blow-ups.
That's great.
I haven't had any fantasies about escaping. Maybe going to Nashville to get my bus.
Oh, yeah. But
that was going to be like 2 days of, where I'm just driving a vehicle I can control. That seemed very appealing. But I flagged it as you're just trying to escape. Like, you're trying to not walk through all this. You're trying to take a little break. There's the logical stuff and then there's what's really going on. And I think I did go like, you want to escape right now.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's good that you recognized it.
Yeah.
It'll all pass.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you were doing that. And that obviously is going to be a factor.
I don't know if that's how I start my day. I don't know if the order is
maybe you should do it at night.
But then maybe I couldn't
bad.
sleep.
Yeah.
But I've been waking up. I've been having like 2-hour chunks where I'm up at night too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, growing pains, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it is kind of funny that you just brought up the fires because, during COVID, at the beginning of COVID, you've said it that, your goal is to reduce panic.
Yeah.
With all of us who are panicked or,
heightened.
Yeah. And you're trying to bring that down.
Yeah.
You, in some ways, in doing that, you're like, you're not saying it's not that big of a deal, but like, that's like the energy, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then, a year and a half goes by and you have the recognition like, oh, that did affect me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Even though I was like, it's not that big of a deal or I'm not, it did.
Yeah.
And so when the fires were happening, and to me, it was like a little tangential, like it was a similar thing.
It felt identical.
Yeah, exactly.
The masks and the evacuees.
Oh, yeah. And the fear versus the panic versus it's not that big of a deal. I thought in some time, there's going to be a realization that had an impact.
I totally agree with you, but I don't know if I think it was COVID that scared me.
Yeah.
But I do think living with people that had heightened emotions that were scaring me.
Yeah.
Did have a pretty big impact on me.
Well, no, but even just like the whole experience of it, the isolation, the time together that was so intense, the unknown, how long is it going to be? All these things that we just all lived with and dealt with very differently. And I do think some people immediately know the feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's like they have the feeling minute one.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
you're in a zone.
I didn't
of
cry over
helping.
my dad till like 4 months later.
Yeah, it takes a minute.
I didn't cry over the USO tour till I was telling my mom about it when I was out of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just now it's like catching up a little bit.
I heard that dude shared in the meeting on Monday that he has this weird come down. He's like, oh, I don't know what the fuck to do now. I knew how to get the hoses out and I knew how to do this and I knew how to do that. Now I don't really know
Yeah.
this, the air quality. I can't get a hose out. I don't
Right.
What can I do other than buy a couple
14.
dozen?
I think you have some you could lend. Oh, speaking of something else uncontrollable. Well,
Diarrhea.
What?
Diarrhea?
No, I don't want to talk about that. My friend's house was robbed.
Yeah, tell me about that. I'm quite curious what happened. Were they home?
Completely unrelated. No, not home. Thank goodness. But also on purpose, I'm sure. Like, I think these people probably were staking out the joint.
Yeah.
And
casing the joint.
Exactly. And so they knew they weren't there.
That's preferred.
Of course, yes. But unrelated to the fires, like they were out of town for just a night. And what's really such a weird, sad bummer is she had just put all her irreplaceable items into a
fire
safe because of the fires, obviously.
Yeah, and they assumed there was valuables in there.
And they took the whole
safe.
safe.
That's what's tricky about a safe.
I know.
You know what the move is probably? To just leave it unlocked.
Yeah.
If you're just going to put memorabilia in there, like leave it unlocked so they can see there's
So you
nothing.
could still grab it easily, I guess.
And if there's a fire, you hit lock. But while it sits
Right.
there, you leave it
That's
unlocked.
true.
Because it doesn't need to be locked to be fire retardant.
Yeah.
It can have the door shut without you having locked it.
That's a
sad.
good idea. Maybe. I know.
Because I was going to say, I don't really understand modern robberies because there's nothing to fence. Unless the people have some crazy jewelry collection or a bunch of watches, but like all the stuff people stole in the 80s and 90s is like valueless in the secondhand market. You can't sell a 55-inch TV for more than $100. Like, I'm not sure what they think they're going to get.
I think the jewelry is the big thing. And watches. I mean, that's what they stole. And she even said, you can have that stuff.
Yeah.
You can there was one valuable piece of jewelry in there that was her wedding bracelet that was like gifted from a family member,
Yeah.
But the rest of it is all like definitely not things the robbers want.
Yeah.
And I said, maybe you could put a note on the door saying, if you stole my stuff, can you just bring back these items, please? That's sad.
Yeah.
But she's doing okay.
And is the husband now wanting to like arm himself and get
He's not, but of course.
Are they rolling with it or are they?
I mean, they're doing okay, but this is always what happens in any of these circumstances where there's violation. You feel guilty.
Right, like you did something wrong.
You did this and that caused this, or you didn't do this and now this happened. And it's the same. It's like we're wired that way. I assume.
Well, because you want to learn from your mistakes. Yeah.
I know, but it's so unfair.
You should be able to recognize it without the shame or the guilt.
Yeah. So I think they're both struggling a little bit with that.
We're reading the new Unstoppable books by Yuval Harari at night to the kids. By we, Kristen's reading it to them, and I listen and sometimes fall asleep.
Nice.
But he was describing a scene where the sapiens might have seen a group of Neanderthals approach. And because, Neanderthals were there and then they went extinct. Or some got absorbed into our genes.
Right.
But in general, they were killed out. They were out competed by sapiens. And he was describing this scene. But also in the book, there's the Dovione, I can't say the word, but these Dovione people that were on an island. So they got smaller. Really tiny, like 2'9".
Okay, this is an Easter egg for a future fact.
Yes. And I'm just laying there listening, and I was thinking to myself how predictable we are. If you're a group of 100 sapiens and you see these Neanderthals, you see 12 of them, and they're bigger than you, you're scared.
Yeah.
And so you try to neutralize this thing.
Mm-hmm.
If the Denovians had rolled up, they would have probably been kind to him.
Yeah.
And he even talks about often they kill off the Neanderthal parents, but then they would care for the kids or babies of the Neanderthals. And I'm like,
they're not a threat.
I was like, girls, this is the crux of violence is fear.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you see little people walk up on the scene, you're like, oh, get goo, want some food? Come in here.
Unless they are called demons or something, like they make them a different type of threat.
They could be his
outcast
magicians.
Yeah.
Evil magic powers.
Yeah, exactly. So, fact, James, the tallest and smallest women.
Yes. Oh, yes. I saw them again. They came up organically in my feed.
Hanging out again?
Same stuff we already saw, but it was back. I think it's gaining popularity.
I hope.
Yeah.
The world's tallest woman is Rumisa Gelgi.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. And the world's shortest woman is Yodi Amji.
Which, again, it really sounds like a short person's name.
I know.
Well,
it just sounds cute. Yodi.
And like Yoda.
Right.
And Yoda's very, very small.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's Jyoti. So I don't actually know.
Could be Jody.
Yeah. Or GOT or something.
Yeah.
They met in London in November for afternoon tea. And Rumesa is 7 feet 0.7 inches. And Yodi is 2 feet 0.7 inches.
I think it's just a miracle that they're exactly 5 feet apart.
I know.
That they're both 0.7.
It's like how me and you have the exact same IQ.
Yes.
Makes no sense.
Suspicious.
And this was from the Guinness through this. Guinness World Records, obviously.
Yeah, they're the only ones that could ethically host this kind of thing.
Yeah.
If it was Barnum and Bailey.
Barnum and Bailey. They are not allowed.
You go, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Knock this off. That shit's
true.
We got to retire that.
That's
but
true.
Guinness, you're like, get them together.
Yeah.
A couple world record holders.
I know.
I wonder what the volume difference was in tea they drank. That interests me.
They're so awesome. And we think they look like us.
They do. They look quite a bit like us.
Rumesa looks like you and Yodi looks like me.
Uh-huh. And we desperately, although I don't know if this puts us in the Barnum and Bailey category.
Oh, no.
We desperately want them to come to the garage and have tea.
Yeah.
So that we can all stand in a perfect linear line going up.
That's right.
From Yodi to Monica to Daxie to Rumesa.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a stunning photograph.
I agree. You also wanted to do boxes where we all reach the same height.
That's right. Where we're all exactly 7.7 inches tall.
But we said that's a little scary for Yodi.
It's quite scary for Yodi, but what I like about that proposition is that her box will be exactly your height.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So you're 3 feet taller than her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only
probably almost
1
exactly.
foot taller. Rumesa's 1 foot taller than me.
Right.
So to be honest, we do have to invite someone who is 4 feet tall just to make it fucking perfect.
Yeah, you need Calvin.
Oh, that actually works color-wise.
It's a gradient.
Calvin's a beautiful transition.
Yes.
Yeah. But he's on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Ramesi is whiter than me, which is hard to do.
Right. She's whiter than you. Yodi looks similar to my coloring.
Mm-hmm. But she looks just similar to you, period.
She really
we were discussing
does.
Last fact check. If you were a great artist, I'd love to see what you see in the mirror.
Yeah.
And if I was an incredible artist and I drew a picture of you, you might find that it looks a lot like
Yodi.
Yeah.
God, this reminds me of the other day. I was with Anna and this is no offense to anyone, but we were at a crosswalk and she said, "Is that you?" And I looked over and there was a woman there. She was wearing a mask, so I couldn't see her full face, but I think she was wearing a mask. Maybe I added that in my head.
Oh, wow. This doesn't sound like the clearest memory.
Yeah. Well, it was traumatic because I saw her and I was like, oh, and then she got closer and I was like, I don't.
Yeah, but
I know.
that's a common occurrence. I know.
Yeah, but that's upsetting. It's upsetting.
You didn't like the comp.
I didn't.
Right. But also
She was a beautiful woman.
in Anna's defense,
Yeah.
I have the experience quite often where you see someone from a distance and as they get closer, you start realizing, oh, I this is a different person than I saw.
Okay. But she didn't say, oh, actually not. But maybe she got in her head.
She got in her head. She went like, oh, shit, that was a bad comp now that she's closer. But now what do I say?
She could have said, oh, actually, never mind. That's
She just said bad comp.
Bad comp. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, bad comp.
Also, maybe it's right. It's probably a good comp. This is where things get tricky.
I doubt
but
it.
I'm a good comp for Yodi. Okay. Now, does yawning help ear clearing? Yes, it does. It opens the eustachian tubes, which allows air to flow into the middle ear and equalize pressure, popping your ears. So that would have worked if he had just tried it.
Yeah, he was being insolent.
He was. Can a Chihuahua and a Mastiff have an offspring? The Great Dane is what I found.
People are most curious.
Yeah, Chihuahua and Great Dane. It says highly unlikely to produce viable offspring because of their extreme size difference, making natural mating nearly impossible and posing significant health risks for both the mother and potential puppies. Therefore, responsible breeders would never attempt such a cross, but it is technically possible.
Yes, and we would
both
want
canines.
it to be a male Chihuahua impregnating a female Great Dane because a Great Dane offspring inside of a Chihuahua uterus could be lethal.
Exactly.
Also, the boy, it would be almost impossible for the Great Dane male to enter the Chihuahua, to stoop down low enough to get the penis.
Yeah, it would have to.
But a little Chihuahua, if a Great Dane was taking a nap on its side, also it consented. Let's just say it consented
Sure.
it was like, I'm drowsy, but whatever you want to do while I'm out. And then it was laying perfectly on the side. It could definitely get up there. It's laying on the ground.
And it's the Chihuahua is the penis, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Great Dane female or gal is laying on her side.
Or back.
No, her side.
Oh.
And then the little Chihuahua just comes up and hump. He's at the right height if she's laying on her side.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then she could probably have 13, 14 pups in the litter and not even notice.
Yes.
Those little tiny pups.
She just thinks they're little mosquito bites.
Yeah. Like a heavy flow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if it's got to be done, that's what we recommend.
Yes. Update. I am leaning more and more, but don't hold me to this, but I'm leaning more and more towards eventually potentially getting a dog.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
When I move into my house.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
I think I will feel safer.
Yep. Get a big boy.
Yeah, a big boy. Erica and Charlie have been fostering this German Shepherd.
Yep.
And a very, very smart dog. Even a puppy is very smart.
They're great dogs. I'm terribly allergic to their hair, but
you are?
Yeah, my mom's dog Breezy, who I loved.
Right.
And I love Pee-Pee.
Yeah, Pee-Pee.
But boy, they shed like a mother. And when I'd be at my mom's house, I couldn't breathe.
Well, I don't want shedding.
Get a doodle. Get some kind of a doodle.
But are they going to protect?
Boy, that's a good question.
I need one that is nice.
And a killer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A reform bad boy.
I think German Shepherds are that.
Yeah, they are.
But I don't. My house is going to be so pretty. I cannot have it covered in hair.
Oh, and they fucking shed so bad. You got to get something that doesn't shed.
Back to the drawing board. Okay. You said the fewest among the Armchair Anonymous callers are from Oklahoma. I'm not going to second that.
Can't substantiate that claim, no.
The house with that James had his party, his 50th birthday party. This is the episode.
Yes, this is the episode.
That was hilarious because we were talking about surprise parties and 50th birthday parties, and yours was in the works. So you didn't know.
Mine was a couple days out.
Yeah. James Goldstein, the Sheets Goldstein residence is the home that he had the party. That's a big iconic home in LA.
Gorgeous place.
Yeah. Oh, the phobia of getting sued is liticophobia.
That makes a ton of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Liticophobia.
Nick Nolte is not from Oklahoma. He's from Omaha.
Okay.
Easy mistake. And Brad Pitt was born in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Congratulations, Shawnee.
I know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Would you rather be known as the town that produced the tallest woman in the world, the shortest woman in the world, or Brad Pitt?
Tallest.
Same.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
the
know
rarest.
Yeah, and I just imagine you could put a statue in town for that person.
And it would
if
draw
you did
people.
the shortest person, you'd miss it. If you wanted to break stereotypes, the move would be to put a statue of the tallest woman next to the statue of the tiniest man.
Yeah.
That was your goal.
Yeah, I like that. And Calvin in the middle.
Calvin right in the middle.
All right.
All right. Love you.
you.